Have you ever heard of the missing lighthouse of Eilean Moor? This lighthouse is located at the top of the steep island of Eilean Moor in the northwest of Scotland. Its whiteness and sobriety do not reveal its dark and terrifying side, as it has a reputation to make blood run cold. Indeed, this structure, erected to prevent ships from running aground on the dangerous rocks of the Outer Hebrides, hides the greatest mystery of the Atlantic, the unexplained disappearance of its 3 guardians in 1990, shortly after their installation. By the way, would you like to hear about such stories and mysterious disappearances which are much scarier than those of the Bermuda Triangle? So, stay with us until the end. Los Roques, the new Bermuda Triangle. Do you know the islands of Los Roques? These 350 islets, located about 130 kilometers off the coast of Venezuela, have about 1,500 inhabitants only. Those who have already heard of these islands know that they are considered the new Bermuda Triangle, and for good reason. The mystery that surrounds them is really striking. This archipelago has recently started to be in the news because of the disappearances of planes in its airspace, which are becoming more and more frequent. The latest victim is a plane with 6 passengers, including Vittorio Missoni, the son of the designer Ottavio Missoni. The plane strangely disappeared from radar on January 4th, 2013, as it departed from the island of Los Roques towards Caracas. And this is not the first disappearance from this area, since for a decade, an alarming series of aircraft accidents and mysterious disappearances has taken place between the Caribbean archipelago and Caracas. And there have been at least 15 incidents since the 90s in which small aircraft have crashed or have suddenly disappeared. In 2008, a plane crossing the area suddenly crashed into the open sea, killing 14 people, and only 1 body was found. The wreckage seems to have been swallowed up by the land. The Bermuda Triangle, the greatest mystery in history. Although we don't need to unpack all the tragic events that have taken place in the Bermuda Triangle, nor talk about the countless theories that have been born from this mysterious era of the globe. We will do it anyway. For many years, the legendary Bermuda Triangle in the Atlantic Ocean has captured the human imagination with unexplained disappearances of ships, planes, and people. While some speculate that unknown and mysterious forces are behind these disappearances, such as extraterrestrials, others believe that the influence of the lost continent of Atlantis or vortices that suck objects into other dimensions are at work. Some more rational explanations think that it is oceanic flatulence, such as methane gas gushing out of the oceanic sediments, that would generate disturbances in the geomagnetic flow lines. Others still think that the Bermuda Triangle is not more deadly than other dangerous places of the globe, and that there are not more shipwrecks than elsewhere. And you, what do you think? On your way to death. Do you know why the Yungas Road has been given such a gory nickname? The answer is simple. The road, located in Bolivia, connecting the city of La Paz to Coroico, in the heart of the Andes and culminating at more than 5,000 meters of altitude, was shaped over the years a chilling reputation because of the fact that it is only 3 meters wide and that it is surrounded on nearly 64 kilometers of immense precipices, being able to reach the 600 meters of height. And it is not all. On your way, you will cross fabulous panoramas on nearly 3,000 meters of unevenness, but also in especially desert landscapes, jagged valleys, and will pass even under extremely dangerous waterfalls. So yes, we can say that this road carries its name well. The Little House in the Mountain. This is one of the strangest houses in the world, and here's why. Considered a troglodyte house, this one is trapped in a mountain in Italy in the Dolomites, which makes it the most isolated house in the world since it is extremely difficult to access. It was built into the side of Mount Cristallo. Made of brick, the house has a facade with 4 windows and even a wooden roof. But the mystery that surrounds it is striking. How was it furnished? because although it has been uninhabited for many years, it is well furnished. So how did they manage to get the furniture up there, since the only way to get there is a very steep path? We let you think about it? The island that makes you tremble with terror. If Japan is very popular for its culture, its landscapes, its monuments, there is a place that very few tourists know about, and I'm sure that you have never heard of it either. It is Miyake-jima, an island of the Izu Islands archipelago, which is located south of Tokyo and which is home to about 2,884 inhabitants. And no, its inhabitants do not have a quiet life since they live under a permanent threat. The island is known for its uninhabitable and potentially deadly conditions, and for good reasons. Miyake-jima lies on an active chain of volcanoes that has erupted 6 times in the last century, which is huge. In 2000 alone, Mount Oyama on the island erupted as a result of 17,500 earthquakes. And for just under a decade, no flights were allowed into the area due to the high levels of toxic gases, especially sulfur, emanating from the ground. 5 years after the eruption, Miyake-jima residents were allowed to return to the island, provided they wore gas masks at all times to protect themselves from the toxicity. It must be exciting to live there. The hidden part of Macquarie Island. See this beauty? This island of 35 kilometers long and 5 kilometers wide, located in the Southern Ocean, 1,500 kilometers southeast of Tasmania, has been much talked about thanks to its paradisiacal site and its extremely rare and rich fauna and flora. However, few know the cursed side of the island. Indeed, the island also has several icebergs of titanic size, which are very dangerous for ships because most of them are hidden underwater, which threatens the hulls of the ships as well as the lives of the sailors. The cursed village of Rocas Parviera. Do you like paranormal and supernatural stories? Now, we're not going to tell you about a horror movie. We're going to tell you about the cursed village of Rocas Parviera. Located in the Alps Maritimes in France, this village tells the story of Queen Jean of Naples, married at the age of 9 to Andrea of Hungary. She inherited the Kingdom of Naples and the County of Provence at 17. The battle between the families for power led to the assassination of Andrea of Hungary in 1345. And rumors spread that Jean was the one who ordered it. 2 years later, the brother of the deceased, wanting to avenge his brother, invaded the region with his army, and Jean took refuge in Provence in the isolated castle of Rocas Parviera. But one Christmas Eve, while Jean was out attending mass in the nearby village of Courcy, she returned to find her 2 children dead, murdered in the most gruesome of ways. Mad with grief, the queen had the castle burnt down, and to get revenge, she uttered a curse that has since manifested itself in a series of bizarre and unexplained events, namely a plague of locusts, a succession of plague epidemics, and powerful earthquakes cracking and destroying houses. Houtman Albrojos, the archipelago of massacre. There are many heavenly archipelagos in the world, but did you know that there was an archipelago known for the massacres it generates because it was the scene of a bloody shipwreck? Although the Albrojos Islands attracts many diving enthusiasts thanks to their turquoise and shallow waters studded with reefs, they are also known to be graveyard of several ships. Indeed, more than 50 boats have been wrecked in the chaos of reefs that surround the Houtman Albrojos archipelago over the last 400 years. In all, some 20 wrecks have been found there, including the Batavia, which is now so famous that it no longer needs to be presented. The flagship of the Dutch East India Company fleet, a sumptuous 3-masted ship from the Amsterdam shipyards, a heavy-rigged sailing ship of 56 meters in length with a carrying capacity of 600 tons, armed with 30 cannons, which sank only 1 year after its launch in 1629, on one of the countless coral reefs bordering the Albrojos. The sinking was so tragic that it is still spoken of today as the Titanic, especially since it was the first voyage. Bhangarh, or the Ghost Town. Bhangarh is a ghost town abandoned for 400 years because it has the reputation of being the most haunted city in India. It is located precisely between the cities of Delhi and Jaipur and the state of Rajasthan. Even today, it is formally advised not to enter it after dusk under penalty of never seeing the day again. The city was erected by the Maharaja Bhagwant Das in 1573. The latter having requested permission from Balunath, the local guru. It started well. The guru agreed on the sole condition that his own house, which was close to the city, would never be in the shadow of the buildings. If it were ever erased, the town and its inhabitants would be doomed by the curse. The city soon grew and grew until it had reached 10,000 or more inhabitants and gained a reputation for wealth and decay. All was well until then. Except that the famous commandments of Balunath were forgotten by the son of the Maharaja, and the latter had his palace enlarged and consequently trampled on the abode of the guru, which had passed into the shade. As you may have guessed, the guru's anger was linked to a catastrophe that decimated the city and its inhabitants. Since then, the city is known to shelter the greatest number of ghosts, but this does not take away the beauty of this tourist palace, very popular for its buildings and its temples. Here are some pictures. Tell us if you would be able to go there. The Unlucky Lake of Canada. When we see all the mysterious events that take place, we wonder who is unlucky, the lake itself or the people who venture there. Located near Provencher, Canada, this lake has a reputation for attracting all the trouble in the world. If you venture into this area, you are increased risk of kidnapping, armed robbery, and deadly natural disasters. Nevada's Triangle. Did you know that there is another triangle on Earth that is even more dangerous than Bermuda? This one is called the Nevada Triangle. The Sierra Nevada mountain range is located at the northern end of the Mojave Desert in California, and this area is known to be home to some of the tallest peaks in the Western Hemisphere. Whitney, Yosemite, and the Mammoth Lakes from a very dangerous triangle due to the fact that several tragic events have taken place there, including the disturbing and unexplained disappearance of aviator Steve Fawcett in 2007. This happened in the town of Smith Valley, when the man decided to take morning cruise in his airplane. He left, never to return. And this was not the first aircraft to suddenly disappear in the area. Steve Fawcett's was the 46th. His personal effects were not found until a year later. Since then, theories of all kinds have been flying around and people are imagining the worst scenarios, even the most improbable and surreal ones. Meteorologist Tony Fuentes believes that high mountain winds and lack of low-level airspace are certainly linked to these unexplained accidents, while other specialists believe that the loss of altitude is due to the mountain wave phenomenon, internal gravity waves that increase as one rises into the air.